I started talking and I didn't have my mic on. Let's drop the music down a little bit. Hey y'all. So what this video is going to be about today is, yeah, I'm tired. So sorry about the late start. Like, I was supposed to do this at 7 a.m. and that didn't actually happen. Go figure. I overslept, turned the alarm off. So I apologize for the exceptionally lateness of this. Goodness, like an hour and a half. It's terrible. Anyway, this video is going to be a walkthrough of the steps and processes that I take to make YouTube thumbnails. Thumbnails are a process. They really are. And thumbnails are also a hit or miss. You can have the best design degree in the world and still need to tweak the thumbnail enough so that people will click on it. Because art is in part subjective. Even though, even though design is not subjective, as in so much that it is, what am I trying to say? Oh my god. Take two. Designing a thumbnail does follow certain certain rules of thumb, certain procedures that folks who are savvy of design understand. You have, like, where is it? You have certain design rules, like, it's got a little nubby on it. How did I manage to pick up a pen? So I got a plastic nubby on the tip. What the heck? Out of all those pens. So you have the rule of thirds. This is for general composition and layout. Then you have the rule of contrast. Then you have the specific rules of color theory that go into play. And you can go and research these online as much as possible, but we will be going over them on higher levels as we work through it. And I just noticed my camera's terribly out of whack. Let me fix the focus on this thing. There we go, much better. So you have the rule of thirds, contrast, and the various rules of color theory. You also have the various rules of thumb when it comes to value and how it interacts with being and how it interacts with being able to see fonts and text on background images. The rule of thirds is pretty simple. The rule of thirds is pretty simple. You have a rectangular shape, and then you have its very center line. You do not want to just drop something in the center. You don't want to just drop something in the center. It looks static. It looks stiff. It ends up looking very immobile. It's just not good. Now, some people will do this central layout on purpose. This is where design really comes into full. When you know the rules and you know why something's not the way it's supposed to be, you can break those rules in order to make an impact or point. But you have to understand the psychology behind why this doesn't work. So what you would want to do, oh, what a mess, is instead offset your main point. Now with thumbnails, you have two main focus points. One is going to be more powerful than the other, because as human beings, we can't really focus on two things at one time. It's been proven on various scientific studies, including studies involving multitasking and studies involving being able to drive a vehicle and watch for issues and accidents at the same time. So we pay attention to one thing at a time, generally speaking. That's just how our brains are wired. So with the rule of thirds, oh, my daughter's showing up. And this is why I usually try to stream early. Good morning, Pumpkin.
Good morning, Mom. Can I have a Kinder Egg?
Can you have a Kinder Egg? How about you have breakfast first?
No.
No.
I don't want to have breakfast. I want to have Kinder Egg.
I'll be right back, guys. Alright, and we're back. My goodness. Anyway, so you have two main focus areas, focus points, but one is more powerful than the other. And you also have the rule of thirds. Now, what the rule of thirds is that you want to stay away from that center point. That center point is bad. Right? This is not good. Having your stuff right here is not good. What you want to do instead is you want to have your focus of interest in one of these three areas. And that gives the overall thumbnail more dynamic feel to it. So, what are these two main focus points? I just broke the tip off my pencil. What are these two focus points? The image. The image in the thumbnail, or the background, and the text. Now, if you follow some of the big YouTube folks that talk about things like, about the text and the branding and everything else, the branding is secondary. It actually ends up being a more subconscious design part, but every single one of the thumbnails should have something in it that repeats over and over and over again. Because like with Coca-Cola, Gap, Timberlake, let's see what else, McDonald's, they have between color, design element, like the golden arches, which is for them a logo point, or like with Gap, it's their font that they pick. You want that consistency. And even though that consistency isn't a main focus point, it's a subconscious focus point. So that's also important. So I just pulled up my chat window. I realized I wasn't paying attention to it because I'm a goofball. Hey Bubba, hey Vernon, thanks for stopping by. Aw, well, thank you for the like, Bubba. And Vernon's smiling and making funny faces at me. Amen. So, when it comes to thumbnails, at least for following the rules of thirds, you want to put, like, maybe your face, especially if you're a vlog person, in one of these three corners, or one of these four corners, and try to have your text on the opposite side. Now this can be for various reasons. Lower down, it gives you more room for your text. Higher up, the impact of the image of you is more important and the text is less important. This is what's called visual hierarchy. But no matter what you do, unless you want to create an uncomfortable tension, you want the face to be pointing in towards the center. Looking that way, at least. Even if you have your back turned, you have your head over your shoulder, but you want to be looking in this general direction. Because what happens is if you have your head facing this way, you don't have a lot of room over here. We have, as human beings, a need to follow eyes. This is an interesting key point when it comes to, especially kids. It's the first real nonverbal communication. One of the first, not the first, but one of the first that they learn. Because if you have like a photo of you, and you're looking, alien dude, funny mouth, spiky hair, because I can't draw people very well. He's looking that way. It's just you look this way, there's no room over here for anything, and if you have a bunch of text over here, nobody's really going to look at it. And this has to do with the psychology of the eyes. However, and you can see the difference here. However, if you have your dude looking this way, looking this way, it's more comfortable. When you have your text here, your eye automatically goes to the text. Your eye automatically goes to the text. If you add an additional element, like an emotion, and a hand gesture, punches text. The text has a bigger impact in sharing an emotion. So this is really important as well. So you have, don't face away unless you want. I'm writing it down. So you don't want to face away unless you want an uncomfortable tension and have the viewer ignore the text. You want to face in, and if you can, add emotion. When someone has facial expressions that they want to add to it, it's got to be the correct one that's going to be in the video, because otherwise it gets clickbaity and dumb. Okay. Go back to my notes on the front page. Okay. So that was a bonus round. So rules of contrast. This is very important. There is, hold on, let me pull up a website. Okay, so there's a website. This is for accessibility. I'm a huge accessibility nerd. But what they have here, and this is a really, really nice resource. Is it resources? Yeah. Where'd it go? Right here, this one. The contrast checker. And what you can do is you can take the colors that you have and you can check the contrast on them. Now, why is it important? Well, that relates to being able to see the text on your background. As you can see here, this is very easy to read. And even though this is small, this is fairly easy to read. This is easier to read, being bold and larger, but this is easy to read. What this does is that some people have color contrast issues or color blindness issues. And yeah, there are going to be people that are going to visit your vlogs, your blogs, your how-to sites, and everything else, that they're not going to be able to tell the difference between, like, say, blue and green, for example. So if you have blue and green and they're too close in color contrast, just give an example. You got a green, right? You see this? You can't read it down here. You got a green and a darker green. See, this doesn't work either, because and that hurts your eyes on top of that. So you want to stay away from that kind of thing. If you're going to do green on green, you need to have enough of a contrast difference for it to matter. See, this really doesn't work either. You see that? Now, if I had, say, a dark background and a light green, that works. You see that? Or a light green background and dark, that works. You can read it. You can see it here for yourself. It's easier to read. And this isn't just, oh, well, you gotta be nice to people with disabilities, that some people seem to have in their heads. Because you know what? Although I believe that, yes, you need to be nice with people with disabilities. You don't need to coddle them either. A lot of times they've been in this situation with their disabilities for a lot of their life. You just need to have some empathy. You know? You have to care. You have to give a poop, basically. But for design-wise, what this does is it helps everybody. Not just folks with colorblindness issues, but everybody. It makes it easier to read. It's not as hard on the eyes. Excuse me. It's not as hard on the eyes. And, you know, generally speaking, it's easier to see. Just in general. Now, the other thing, too, you have to watch out for is the funky contrast on very busy backgrounds. If you have very busy backgrounds where it goes from light to dark all over the place, then you have issues with your text not showing up as easily. Because some parts are darker, some parts are lighter, some parts are darker, some parts are lighter. It's really busy. That's a problem. This starts being difficult to actually see. We'll go over an example of that when I turn Photoshop on. Hello, Pumpkin. What do you need? Bathroom. Okay. So what I have here is an example of this color contrast, dark to light. And this is a no-go. We really don't want to do this. You'll see a lot of thumbnails that look a lot like this. And again, that may be a choice on the designer's part to have someone fight with the focus overall. So you'll have like the photograph of the guy here or girl, and then you'll have your text in there. You gotta go. Ink pen. And you'll have your text in here. It's not really the best. It'd be better if it was lighter, even lighter. This is a little stronger, but instead of having, I wonder if that'll actually work. Silver. Instead of having the dude over here or the woman over here, the photo, you could have, doesn't really hide. The silver doesn't really hide. Oh well, I tried.
So that's it.
No, we're not getting into that right now. No.
I just wanted this piece.
Yes. Okay, go. Good girl. And then you could have your text there. It makes it more interesting. What this does too is it draws your attention more to the text than to the picture. The picture, even though it's the second main or the second focal point, isn't as intense as the picture. Now on the flip side, you can have a picture of you or whoever here. Maybe you got a camera. You're showing off the camera. The camera is actually more important. So say, do our alien punk rocker guy again. Say you got a bad camera and they're angry. Right? He's like, no, man, don't buy this stuff. It's garbage, right? And then you have your text on a darker background. With a lighter font color. And put them in here. I wish I had whiteout. That would be the best way of doing that. That way the image is more important, especially the camera, right? You, as being the main body of the picture, being pushed off to the side in one of the top and the lower third area of the image. And then this tends to be a focal point, but even that, you see, it's not in the center of the image. I've put it up to that upper third. Now here's an example too of how you can use smaller areas and larger areas to offer higher visual contrast. Maybe you put a logo down here, and then you have, following this, you have your text here, or you can have text here and your image here. And again, you're pushing the picture of yourself off to the side, or the main element. It doesn't always have to be you, unless, you know, it's about you. If you're an artist or a musician or whatever, you could put a mascot character. If you did want photos of yourself, you could put the item. This is especially true for craft work, art, design, something that has a physical output. You can put it here. So we're gonna take an example from Vernon, because Vernon's awesome. And he made, he went to Pinterest and found something for his kids to make a bar. And then you can have the logo here, or his image. All proud, yeah. Looking at the item. I am so bad with drawing people. They all look the same. It was like, oh yeah, I built that. That's awesome. Or instead of himself, he can just leave it as a piece. You know, and here you could do logo and then text. This is also another example. You'll see that in a lot of thumbnails that they'll take an upper or a lower third, and this is the image, and then that is the text. Image, and then that's the text. Now, with that in mind, one of the first things that we want to do is do a little research. Now, y'all know the sites that you want to go to, and you have channels that you like to follow. Well, this is a little bit of a sneaky research thing. So let me pull up my desktop. Seriously? I'm having some technical difficulties, folks. Hold on, hang in there. Seriously? So what I did here is I brought up my desktop. Now I've shrunk it down for a couple reasons. One, you can see this really well, and you can see the design elements on this really well.
When I'm done soon, gonna go to Chuck E. Cheese.
It's a bit expensive, honey. It's not a good idea. I thought we were going to craft today and make stuff.
Oh yeah, but Mom, after you're done shooting I'm done. I'm gonna start sleeping and eating.
Nick Nimmin's coming on in 30 minutes. Yeah.
Then we will go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Honey, I do not have the money right now. We have to wait until next weekend, before we can go to Chuck E. Cheese's. Because then I'll have money. Okay? Alright, go play. Go play. Oh, there you go. You want a pencil? Wait, that's no good. Oh, pardon the interruption, folks. That's not good. You want that? Okay. Have fun. Okay. Okay, have fun. So what you're seeing here is, I love Brian's. We're going to go to Brian G. Johnson because he's got some amazing thumbnails. And Brian G, this totally non-sponsored, he has some amazing videos. Now look, he's following these rules. He is, if you squint your eyes, you'll see a lighter area versus a more intense, darker area. And darker colors don't mean like just blacks and browns and stuff. That means the hue is deeper and the tonal value is dimmer. So you can use oranges, reds, yellows, greens, but when they get darker, they turn into colors similar to like browns and like mauves, things like that. But if you squint, you can see right here how his cutout is a lot paler than the background where the text is, and he's following this rule of thirds. He's over here, the text is over here. He's over here to the left, the text is over here. He's over here, the text is to the right. He's over here to the right, the text is to the left. And you can see his branding in the fact that he has his logo that's a specific color. This right here. Right? And even though it's not exactly in the same spot all the time, it is, I do believe, constantly down at the bottom. Then you have these. This here is not the best, but I think this was done for a series. If you squint at this is lighter, he's darker. And he's got his logo down in the corner. I think these are some of his older videos, because his newer videos have this wacky placement of his stuff. Which is great because, you know, he's mixing it up a little. But his logo is always, except for this one, I don't know what's up with this one, has always been down at the bottom. Maybe he's changing it up again. And that's okay too. When you're working on your thumbnails, you can change things up. It's okay to change things up every now and again. You don't do it a lot. But when things start feeling stale, or if you do A/B testing and you notice that maybe it's not getting as many clicks as possible, you can always change it up and try another A/B test on a different one. But even this one, if you squint, this one's a little harder because him and his background is the same tonal value. He has kind of this outline around him which cuts him out of it. And the text is lighter than the background, but you're not, it's almost as if both of these have the same visual weight. And he fades into the background of the background a little bit too much, which puts a little bit more of the visual weight on the words. And yeah, his subscriber hangout is amazing. He's got a lot of good tips and tricks and things like that. So although the text has a little bit more of a visual weight, it's like a 60 to a 50. And the logo here, because it's on a very dark background, actually draws your eye a little bit more. And that's just the psychology of contrast. That's how we see. So while we're looking at this, because he's got some amazing thumbnails, we're going to, this is where your pencil and paper come in handy. And I'm using a graph notebook. It's a composition, it's a straight composition graph notebook you can find pretty much anywhere. It's always good to grab a couple of these for yourself. Back to school hits. What I'm doing here is I'm sketching out a couple real rough thumbnails. They don't have to be perfect. That's why I'm doing mine in pen, because I am not trying to erase and fix and make everything perfect. That ain't gonna happen. And I think my stream is going to run over into Nick Neiman's stream, and that's going to suck because I don't like missing his stream. So starting with this one right here. Wait, wrong one. Starting with this one right here. We're going to capture generally where the elements are. So you have him. He's leaning back. He's facing this way, right? And he's got his arm up like he's thinking. Remember, it ain't gotta be perfect. He's got this crazy hair thing going on. I love his hair. It's crazy. He's got this banner that's going diagonal. This banner that's going diagonal. Right? I don't have a yellow pen. What is with this? What the heck? It's got the little... I get that they're trying to keep the ink from drying out, and oh my god, that's irritating. He's got his logo here up by his head because he moved it. That's his logo, right? And then he uses his color palette is for his videos tends to be a black background, red banner, because red draws your eye. It's just a natural. This is color theory at work here. Red banner, right? Yellow text. Yellow and red are exciting. They're very exciting and draw your eye into things. With white text. Right. So you have your text here, your 2 bits of text. A simple version of that would be dude, banner, text, logo. Real simple thumbnail. This is funny. These are called thumbnails. This is a thumbnail of a thumbnail. Of a thumbnail. Thumbnail of a thumbnail. So the other one down at the bottom has him here. Again, he's looking this way, right? He's leaning forward a little bit, right? And then he has his banner, logo. And then text. So now we're going to hit one of my other favorites. I love Philip DeFranco. I don't care what you say. I love Philip DeFranco. He doesn't put a lot of text in his. It's mostly just images. I mean, he gets a lot of views, but what he does is he puts himself in there and the images of the people who he's talking about. And every now and again, he'll put text in there. And that's great if you want to do it that way. But generally speaking, he already has a strong following. And unless you read the title, you get kind of an idea that it's about, this one's about Trump and whoever that guy is. Like, I am not a celebrity person, like, really. Like, this one has to be about Disney Pixar. But it says, no, stop complaining and suck it up. This is funny, voting for dummies. It's important enough for him to put text on it, so that makes it pop out on his page a little bit more. TEDx is one of my other favorites. TEDx also doesn't do a lot of... No, they don't do a lot of it, but again, they have a bunch of followers already, so they can kind of get away with not having that on there. We'll go to Schmoyer. Schmoyer's site. Look at that. He's got some good ones. He doesn't have a lot of text on his, but it also says a lot more. Now with his, you see he's got his logo in the bottom, and his logo is very specific. It's a camera. And even though the background graphics are not, they're not like word or verbiage, they still give you an idea of what the video is about a lot better than just a flat image. Like this one's about not making money on YouTube. This one's about best title on YouTube, his process, right? But you have to be careful of doing it like this. This one here says grow your channel. So he really works on, this one here actually has words in it. So see what he's doing here, he's right here, he's doing a huge block of text. This is one of his older ones. But the idea and then dollar signs. Right, and then with this one, he's taken that third, he's canted it slightly. And then he's got his logo, text, but then the primary section is him and some background elements. Makes it more interesting. But what he does that works is he puts these graphics in the background that kind of replace the text. But you have to be very, very good at doing design to make sure you're putting the right elements in that background to replace your text. Like the 0 views, 0 subs. Yes.
Can I talk to you for a moment?
No, please don't. Please don't. Lan will kick my butt.
I'm going to ask him if it's okay.
No, leave him asleep. The other thing that you want to do is you want to go to... I love Kesh. He's got amazing art. He does daily blogs. Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to look at your niche. Okay? Your niche market. The thing that you're doing work in, whether it's tutorials, blogs, or whatnot. And you want to go to these, what for all intents and purposes, quote-unquote competition. I say quote-unquote because you don't want to think of it as some kind of super aggressive competition, raw, I have to win. But at the same time, you're fighting with these particular people for that spot in the algorithm that will bring you up to your suggested videos that, you know, YouTube says, hey, you want to watch this channel too. You think this is good, watch this. So you want to go to these other channels and you want to take a look at what they're doing, especially if they've caught your eye. And it's not just for the videos, but for like the thumbnails and stuff. Put that down. We'll open that later. I got it for us. Put that down.
Is that for me?
It's for the family. You'll see when we open it. Go. Shoot. My daughter's freaking out on me. Do you mind? I love you. Thank you. Okay, stop. So what?
Everyone's great with you.
Well, that's all and good, baby, but I'm doing a tutorial right now, love. Thank you for wanting to help. What happened to the movie? You don't want to watch it.
Only want to watch Pop Patrol, but the CD.
Oh, a CD doesn't want to work. I know. And there's a movie already in the Xbox. You can't put another movie in if there's a movie in the Xbox.
Well, I just got out the minion.
Did you put it back in its case where it belongs? Did you? I will check on that. Then go fix that because we don't want to ruin the DVD. And the Paw Patrol doesn't want to work in the Xbox. I don't know why. Honey, can I please finish? No, I don't know. No, I don't want those outside of the bedroom or the bathroom. Fingernail polish will get all over everything. Not right now. Please. No. Hold on, guys. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. God, what a mess. So what Kesh does is Kesh has a very distinct yellowy palette of colors. He uses a lot of white. And he also outlines his text heavily, which is interesting because it fits what's in his product. He does a lot of brush pen work, and he uses very heavy outlining lines for a lot of his stuff. If you take a look here, the outlines here and here, so like here, the outlines, right? The outlines here, it matches up with how he outlines his text, and it's offset. See that? So what we have here is he's taken this third, he's got his text here, and he's got a character that he's drawn. So this is a product. He's also telling a story with this. And then the next one over, the little brain. This is where he's broken from design rules. He's put it in the center. Right? And he's wrapped his text around it. However, he has his thumb in here and an arrow, which kind of pulls everything to the right a little bit more. So he's made a choice because he wants to draw your attention more to this particular thumbnail out of all the rest of them, because this is a little bit static, a little bit uncomfortable to look at. This one over here, again, he's done the center thing, but it's not purely centered. You have the paper, right, and here's the center, and you have your text here, but he has his arm here, and he has his hand here. And this is in that lower third quadrant. You see this? Lower third, and that is another third. Even though the text and information is here, the other elements balance it out. This one here, he has his paper here. He's got the character here. Now the character's facing this way, right? And his hand is over here. And the text is here. I probably would have had the character facing inside towards the text instead of away, personally. He does it again here, makes the character face away. I would have had the character facing in. This one here is really strong, where it says awkward, and this one here is the meaning of life explained. This is where he was doing his 100 days of comic challenge. You can see the text is here, the character is here. The text is here, the character is here, and again here, even though the text is in the center, everything is offset by the background images in the background. That's why that works. Joseph Girardi, I do believe he's from New York. He's got some really intense thumbnails, and I really like the way they look. So what he does is he has his image here in the background, and you can see it's very busy. This one here is talking about his urban mandalas, and it's very busy. Text doesn't matter, light or dark would get lost on this background. So what he does, in order to enhance the contrast to that, and this fades off, he has a border where he has his text here, and then a little box down at the bottom. And here, the weight is in this third section, primarily. Even though the text goes all the way across, it's left justified. So the weight of the text is on this side, and because we read left to right, it's kind of like having the character facing to the right. Well, when you left justify something, your eye automatically moves to the right. And down here, what he did down here with these ones, the elements that he used in the background, he put the logo of the product that he's using up in the corner. He put himself there. And then the background, because he's working with music or audio, he put the audio wave lines in the background. And then he has his box text right here. And that's it. And then the other one, it's him, right? Logo's down here. He's got some kind of background in the back. And then the text is here. So once you have an idea, doing these thumbnail sketches helps to kickstart your brain. And if you see something, some pattern, some consistency, some image, some way of doing something that really jazzes with you, that really goes with you, then that's where you want to go with that. So now we have all these thumbnails here. Right. Oh, I'm dropping things. Let me check my notes one more time. So we've gone over the rules of thirds, contrast, some of the rules of color theory, very high level, and value. Being able to see the fonts on the text is very important. Well, one of the things on color theory that we need to go over is the psychology of color. This is very important. Very, 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 very important. Okay? The psychology of color is linked with a person's cultural influences. This is a very important point. There are certain truths about color in general, but when it comes to the psychology of color, this is a really important point. Like you have your warm tones, red, yellow, oranges. I don't have a yellow, I don't know why. Orange. How do I not have a yellow? Oh, maybe this will work. Oh my god, this gel pen's terrible. Warm, bright colors. They're exciting. They draw the eye. They bring us in and what? Grandma's not here. What are you talking about? I am not Grandma. Really? I missed a color. Go to dark. See if I can get a much darker blue. So, cooler, darker colors are calming, generally speaking. And if you look at, we have daylight colors and we have nighttime colors. And if it works with our biology because we are primarily diurnal creatures. So anything that's a bright color of yellow light from the sun will draw our attention, excite us, draw us in, make us feel, you know, more excitable in general. A lot of us associate red with anger or love because it's one of the most attractive colors we see. Red is one of the more powerful colors on this entire thing outside of a very dark blue. This has power, this color. The dark blue color also has power, but it has a very calming power. This is why you don't want your bedroom in red, if you can help it. Having like blue tones, brown tones, purple tones, things like that in your bedroom help you sleep better. And this has to do with our biology. Yay! Nerdy geeky time. Woohoo! Jazz hands. So when you're doing your thumbnails, when you're doing your branding, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to express? What are you trying to get across with just the language of color? I don't see anything yucky on your toe. Ew, don't. What? Ew. Ew. What did you step in? No, go.
I just saw it cute and something yucky and I was like, ew.
Go in the bathroom and clean it up. You're tracking it everywhere. What did you step in?
I don't know. No, today.
Oh my goodness.
That is so nice. Yep.
Alright. I'm going to have to stream later because there's just too much going on right now. So,